Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another cast of Vanguard. I am Thomas JaKaTaKtv. With me is no one. It is a solo cast today, and we'll be casting El Donzo over here and Nomus King, two playtesters against two professional gamers, QXC and Beastie Cutie. So, very strong mechanics up here in the top left, and a little bit stronger understanding of the game in the bottom right. These are two guys who play test all the time, many times a week. So they're playing this game, they know the ins and outs. Their build orders may be a little bit more crisp, their decisions may be a little bit more accurate, we'll say. But in the top left, you have to contend with the fantastic creativity of the QXC and the mechanics to go along with it. And of course, Beastie Cutie and QXC have been working together to play this game for quite a while, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of teamwork they have going on, what kind of a rapport, etc., and how they can leverage that in the future as the game gets started up. So let's kind of talk about the builds. This is a 2 versus 2 game, not a 1 versus 1 game, and so we're going to describe this opening as a 4 base versus 4 base kind of a scenario. Sometimes you'll see 3 base aggression, 2 base aggression, and remember, we count all the bases because each team and what the team can do is really what's most important. An initial group of Lings going to come out here and start clearing out the Xel'Naga. It's 25 Xel'Naga energy. It's the 3rd resource in Vanguard. One of the changes we made pretty recently is to put these neutral Xel'Naga turrets right outside the natural bases. And we added in some rich mineral protection. So if you're not familiar with Vanguard, the way that things work is the main mines about twice as fast as your natural and all the other little bases, right? Only 4 blue mineral patches versus 6 gold ones. And that means that it's extra valuable, so we wanted to make sure we gave it some extra defenses and give players a nice safe place to hang out and to feel like, all right, this is my place. You can't really mess with it. Taking an expansion, however, is going to require some units to clear off these towers and protect it and defend it. And so we're starting to see the very beginnings of player behavior shift as a result of this change. This is a very recent change. This is one of those kind of changes as well that the players aren't going to really be adjusting to it too much right away. But we have nice early map control build from QXC and Beastie Cutie. Getting some early units out, taking out this turret and replacing it with their own. Wow, this is very aggressive. We have 2 turrets getting set up here, 2 Aegis guns. Those are cast with 50 Xel'Naga energy. The slowly regenerating 3rd resource in this RTS. And they're using this to take a 5th base. And this is really early. This is a really early 5th base. Let's take a look and see if we have any kind of air tech going on, any kind of harassment options going on for our playtester team, because if they do and they're able to circumvent, this is a very greedy 5th base over here. Going to be making a little bit of a push. They're taking a 5th behind it, so if they were able to get damage with this push, I'd be incredibly surprised. That is not how it's supposed to work, but sometimes if you're that good, you can break the rules. This might be one of those scenarios. A tank coming out. Keep in mind we do have, let's see if they have siege mode. They don't. Siege mode is an upgrade in Vanguard, so you don't just get it automatically. You have to decide to invest. And that's what a lot of our design philosophy is all about. This is gonna be really, really tough to crack, though. We can see siege mode coming in the production tab. It should finish relatively soon. They might be able to get this tower, but again, it's got a lot of hit points. And once these siege tanks start sieging up, that's gonna be pretty much all she wrote for trying to crack this high ground. Making moves in here or here might be possible, but very difficult. And this siege, those siege tank blasts are basically going to signal that this map control, this early strategy of gaining some map control to get a 5th up, is done. And look at that. We almost have the fully saturated 5th base at this point. Going to take a fight with the Aegis gun. but these siege tanks, way too powerful to mess with. I don't think that was worth it. A lot of times you can get the enemy units attacking your tower and not really paying attention to you, getting some free damage done. We got a nice little bit of focus fire there from Nomus King to ensure that was not happening, and that the pros paid for their insolence, paid for their underestimating of their opponents. Nice immortality spell coming down on those units, make sure they don't die. The Diamondbacks are shooting out, they're sieged up, these arcs here, firing out. So many Marines getting picked off for free there. Zealot's going to be able to charge in now that the Marines aren't there. They're going to be able to get one tank maybe. And this is brutalizing. 2 tanks to 1 Diamondback. The Diamondback is going to go down. This greedy 5th is getting punished. We talked about it earlier. This is a really, really early 5th to take. And he just barely got this fully mining. So perfect timing from our playtester team to come in here and punish this hard. Also losing his production out in the front. Again, general disrespect to the playtester team, saying like, oh yeah, we can do all this greedy stuff, we can take a 5th and attack you at the same time. Look at all these units streaming across the map. The playtesters are not fooling around with this in the slightest. Really cool siege tank counter push after defending the initial sort of map control-y type build. This huge... Oh, gonna be caught on siege. Whew, that was close. We're gonna back up. We gotta get a little bit bigger vision of what's going on here. So we have this Hydra Marine that's just here to tank for these 3 tanks. And if they get into range, be able to siege up. Here's the siege. There's so much buffering these siege tanks. The Diamondbacks in the back doing lots of damage, but overall, there's just so much Hydra. There's so much just sheer army bulk crushing through into the natural. This is absolutely devastating for our professional team. They may be completely aghast. They may be completely flabbergasted indeed, as the poor little command center has to back off. Look at this position. 4 siege tanks now. A little bit of misrally coming in through the side. But this is the position that's going to be incredibly difficult to break. And remember, so many of these gates got knocked out in the front. It's going to make it real... Oh, nice move forward there with the Dragoons. They're very good against armored targets to be able to move in, snipe 1 siege tank. 1 siege tank will not be enough to stop this push. More tanks on the way, as well as +2 attack for the tanks is going to make a significant difference as well. So they get a lot of damage. They scale very well with upgrades. We do have the High Templar, but they don't have enough energy to storm. Oh my gosh. Shows the High Templar with no energy, and this second natural is going to be pushed away. Oh, except it can't fly. It's going to be destroyed, and that's it. GG, well played. The playtesters taking a game off of the professional players, and this is a best-of-3 series. Don't go anywhere. Game 2 is coming up next. Here we are on Naginata. Game 2. Pros versus Joes. Got a couple of average Joes up here in the top right. El Donzo and Nomus King. Looks like they're going to be taking that nice safe backdoor expansion. And in the bottom left, down 1 game in this best of 3, it's the pros, QXC and Beastie Cutie. Now, Beastie Cutie was very greedy last time around, and he's already opening up with more greed again. An expansion first before anything at all is a very greedy way to open. You have to be careful about that. Can be punished by 3-base play pretty easily. But it looks like 4-base play from at least one of our teams. QXC hasn't taken his expansion yet. Looks like it was getting blocked a bit by Nomus King. Nice little early shenanigan from there. And whoa. 1 minute and 20 seconds into the game with, I don't think he's built anything. No, without building anything else at all. This is, this is 3 Nexus without any units at all. This is really dangerous. This is really, really dangerous and greedy. It will be incredibly surprising if this base doesn't die. The question is a little bit about timing. So this is a kind of cool way to react to last game. So last game, they took a fifth at about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and then it got punished. And it got punished at the worst possible time. Like, the workers finally got finished being built right around the time where they lost it. So they had full, all those workers that just don't do anything anymore are pretty much wiped off the map. The 400 minerals for the expansion. It was really a good siege tank timing from the red team. They might be going for the same thing, depending on whether they scout this or not. But this time, it's a cool reaction because BCQD is basically saying, okay, well, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take this 5th base super early, and so even if you kill it, we'll have made enough money, so it doesn't matter too much, because we're gonna say, all right, well, you're gonna go for that same timing again, and it's a really counterintuitive way to respond to the problem, but very creative, very cool, and we'll have to see if enough money gets made. It's gonna finish. It's only 3 minutes into the game, has not been scouted yet. Gonna back off for the time being. Really passive early game, and this is exactly what QXC and BCQD want. This is what they're going to benefit from. A delayed push. A 4-base push is not going to do so well against the super early 5 bases. It's all about BCQD getting everything online and starting to go. Make units. We do have the Twilight Council, really early Twilight Council coming in. So not only is BCQD being super greedy, but he's also teching up at the same time. QXC is the watcher on the walls, as it were. He's going to be making sure that his greedy ally stays safe. Nice bit of teamwork play from our professional team. And look at that. All right, we're at 4 minutes. And this base is already mining. Siege tank count starting to go up. 1-1 for both players. This does look like the same build, or at least very similar, on the playtester team. I'll have to see if the pro reaction is the correct one, or if it's at least good enough to win them the video game. And Warfield Factory. Very nice. We do have Warfield over here. Commandos and mines. The mines, by the way, act as medics when they're unburrowed, and they act as mines when they're burrowed. You can see them healing these zealots here. It's a nice, really early game composition. A lot of synergy there. Biological units only being healed up by the mines, and a little bit, aggressive expenditure of Xel'Naga energy there. That's 60 Xel'Naga energy to get that speed boost onto the Marines, and only killed a zealot for it. So not really that valuable. They could have really used a wild growth instead during the fight. Got to be very careful with that Xel'Naga energy. It can make a big difference in fights. It can swing the fight in one direction or the other. Nice little move over in the top section. Widowmine's only getting a couple of Hydras. This Aegis gun is not long for this world as Diamondbacks begin to get set up. The Hydras are going to move in before too much damage is dealt. 2 of the Diamondbacks go down, and will allow the siege tanks to creep a little bit further forward. Now, they can cut down and start messing with this base now that they've secured this location. Very careful sieging and unsieging, leapfrogging over here from Nomus King. But big charge coming in from the Zealots. Also a chrono boost on them to increase their movement speed and attack speed even more. And they're going to crush through. Really excellent defense. It looks like that early tech to get that charge. Really nice prediction. They say, all right, if they go for the same thing again, we'll have charge. It makes a big difference. Does very well. We do have an attack on our High Templar, just like the StarCraft 2 testing map. It is very nice accessibility feature as this rest of this attack gets winding down all the way towards this section. But okay, so they're not done. Nomus King and Eldonza are going to keep pushing forward. QXC army is very small right now. So is Nomus Kings, but he's got those 4 siege tanks. And remember that they outranged the Diamondbacks. And that's a really important relationship here. We don't know if that's the composition that will most easily deal with this siege tank push. But it is a powerful tool. It does prevent a lot of these main forces, these Marines and Hydras, from just running in and attacking. Do a lot of DPS in front of them, but no DPS behind them. See if you can flank them. That's really where the Diamondback is most vulnerable. Nice movement over here. Coming in, huge Size Storm all over everything. Inspire on the siege tanks as well as Wild Growth, but they get focused down incredibly quickly. All the siege tanks gone in an instant, just like that. And Nomus King without the bank to immediately replenish them. This is going to create a slow buildup of siege tanks once again. And that's really going to neuter the offensive capabilities of our playtester team and the defensive capabilities as well. Army's going to move it. Wow. Going to just take the expansion while the rocks are being taken down. El Donzo, a man of courage, is just going to take the base right in front of his enemy. Nice little position. Hold position on these Hydras. Very important. You don't want to walk into that zone. Diamondback's gonna move back just a bit. And yeah, no. Yep, you go away. You see that and you just leave immediately like, oh, 4 Diamondbacks set up in a choke. Yeah, that's not really an option. Siege tank's creeping forward. He's finally got his siege tank count back up. They will be able to defend this base for the time being. In the meantime, this base is just getting up to full saturation. Just barely. If they can hold on to these bases, it will be a big deal. We are 6 base to 5 right now. Playtesters are the defenders. Uh-oh. Movement over towards the top. These siege tanks need to react. It's such a critical part of the composition for them to be able to defend this base. They can't do it with just Hydras and Marines. They need the siege tanks desperately in every engagement. Any engagement QXC and BSTQD can take without the siege tanks involved is a huge win for them. Oh, and they're going to move in so much DPS in this building hatchery. Will they cancel it? Nice cancel. But that was almost finished. It was an almost finished expansion. They really needed that economy. And now we are 6 base to 5 in the opposite direction as this 6 does get started for BSTQD. Says, wanted that base initially as a 5th. I will take it as a 6th as long as it's mine. And so far it is. So we talk a lot in this game about this particular map being a very central control kind of a map. Having center control is very powerful. It allows you to do a lot of harassment. Make sure your opponent pretty much can't push you in any efficient way. They have to go very far around. Siege tanks waiting for the siege storms, pushing back the Hydras. It's a little dancey moment. Oh, and look at that. As soon as those siege tanks are sieged, moves right into this base again. That's going to be another cancel in the least. They did their job. Really patient play from our professional team. And oh my god, huge Size Storms go down on all the Marines, all the Hydras, all the tanks, everything evaporating to these Size Storms. Incredible advantage now for QXC and BSTQD. Take that perfect engagement. And this is a really frightening scenario for our playtesters. They're going to lose all of those workers. I'm going to try to save this base, and I think they'll be able to at least get it away. And are they going to be able to push all the way through? Are they just going to try to win this from here? Ooh, inefficiencies coming in. A little bit of Hydralisk loss. Really need to be careful about that. Walking into the Diamondbacks. And, oh man, I love this. Look at this. So patient. Just going to go in, get some free damage, make sure that the outside bases are trimmed back, and you just wait for mine out. Nice little concave setup over here from the Diamondbacks. I think they're actually better set up in a straight line, but, you know, tasteless, the concave and all that. Ooh, that is really dangerous. Gonna move forward, gonna try to snipe. Yeah. Yep. That is not the engagement you're looking for. Really need to push these back with the siege tanks. Get the siege tanks to outrange the Diamondbacks, push them back, protect them. It's a very slow breakout kind of a method compared to the BCQD style, which was all charge lock, just zooming right up to those siege tanks and ripping them to shreds. And because the playtesting team has the slower breakout, it's gonna be tough. They give a lot of time to all of these bases basically to get up and running, to start generating economy, which then generates units. A couple of Vikings for vision here. Siege tanks do shoot farther than they can see, just like in StarCraft. So having that extra vision is valuable. Gotta watch out, of course, for the Aegis gun, which can shoot up. Nice little move over here from BCQ to check this base. Sees that it's not taken. Ooh. Interesting move out. Nice side storms all over, but going to get 0 kills and lose all the High Templar. That was not the engagement they were looking for. In the meantime, though, a nice drop in the back is going to allow some harassment damage to be done. Playtesting team trying to move up right into the ramp. This is very dangerous. We do have some arbiters getting into the mix now, but this low-tier army, this low-tech army, cannot compete at all with the Diamondback. The Diamondback is so powerful against these ground units. You need the siege tanks. They weren't in that fight again. And look at this. This base, this backward base is pretty much completely taken out. All these red hit point units for our red team. Very thematic, but not particularly advantageous. Ooh, nice move in here, though. They're going to cut in, and this is a much better position for them. The charge lot's not going to do nearly as well trying to push through this choke at the siege tanks. Stasis will get 2 of the siege tanks out of the fight for the time being. Reinforcements come in. Harassment is being recovered from... Oh, what is this? Does he have enough? Does he have enough energy? He's got 100 energy. That might be a recall. We're going to wait for it. I'm going to keep your eyes peeled up. There it is. There's the recall. Big recall gateway units. Going to come right in here. The rich mineral protection is great for the early game, but when you have armies like this, it does nothing. And at the same time, a drop over here. When they have the map control, they're trimming the bases with their army. And when they don't, they're trimming the bases and the economy with their harassment. It's just so hard to get away from these guys. Just excellent, excellent players, mechanically, strategically, and tactically, making really great moves. Oh no, the unsiege, really unfortunate unsiege. That would have been in range of all of those Diamondbacks. And huge stasis goes down on half of the army. In the meantime, the main base is getting carved out from all of this harassment. Just 2 different bits of harassment, 1 from each player. The main army engagement is going in the favor of Team Pros, and we might just have a Game 3 on our hands. We are on top of the central nervous system of the Terran here. This is where all the units come out. They are being able to kind of ball up and get into position. Lots of siege tanks. But that is it. GG, well played, excellently done. We're going to move on to Game 3. Welcome to Game 3. You've made it this far. This is the last game of this best of 3, this series. And it's Pros versus the Joes. In the bottom left, we got a couple of regular Joes, El Donzo, and Noma's King. And they're going to take... Ooh, what is this? Are they going to take... Yeah, look at this. Okay, so the playtesters this time are going to be going for... Very greedy. Double expansion first. Both players going for an expansion first. On the other side of the map, ooh, we have a little bit of potential aggression coming in from QXC. Slightly forward barracks will help the reinforcement rate be as increased as possible. And he's going to start building his units right away. Gonna keep this going on. Now, it's gonna be very difficult to defend. One of the recent changes we've been talking about is we have more protection in the main with these rich mineral protection and less protection on the outside. This used to be an automatic free turret that was yours. Now it's a neutral turret, so very different. This attack is going to come in super early, punishing the greed of the playtesting team, giving them a taste of their own medicine. This is very interesting. They're focusing down this tower. They must want to take it. Look at that, taking it right away and even moving on. They're not really afraid of getting attacked by a command center. So moving on up into the high ground, and this time going to be focusing down the hatchery as much as they can. The commandos should be able to kite away these Zerglings alone, which is why they're waiting for Nomus King to join into the battle. Really big speed boost there from the Zerglings, but I don't think there's enough of them to get us around, even though they do have the speed. Nice stutter stepping from Nomus King is going to push this back. Great defense. Excellent defense. And they should be able to clear this up. I think that it may have been a mistake to go for this tower. They spent a lot of damage, a lot of time taking this neutral turret down, and a lot of this attack depended on them finishing that and then holding by it. Nice reaction over here on the other side of the map. Beastie Cutie immediately taking a 5th base. I mean, this is like, we just have to expect that this team is going to have Beastie Cutie taking the 5th base for the team and taking it very, very quickly, because that just seems to be what he's doing. General idea, you know, push out the enemy. But this time, the attack of QXC just not doing anywhere near enough damage. I think this is going to be a cancel. We do have some commandos and zealots coming in, though. This is going to be kind of close. If they focus it down, they should be able to get it canceled. Nice cancel there. Very well done. They're going to lose pretty much all their forces for it. Wait, oh my god, they're going to run through, and they're going to be able to pick up a scout now. Let's take a look at what they're going to be able to get their hands on here. In terms of scouting information, the inner towers are up and running. Wow, they are going to get a complete full scout of their enemies. And scout all the gases, the forge. Hopefully they clicked over here on that Twilight Council as well. Beastie Cutie just immediately going to retake this 5th. We're going to see another similar setup to last time. 1-1 upgrades for Nomus King and Eldonzo. This is a tricky scenario. Keeps just taking this 5th base super quick. Almost so you might not even expect it to happen. Let's double check the vision. Wow, they do scout it. Very nicely done. Professionals are going to be taking control of the center. We do have a little color swap that happened. Try not to mind too much. Fortunately, we can't set that manually because it's all done through triggers, and it has to do with when people enter the lobby. It's madness. You don't want to understand. You don't want to even understand. You'll just tear your hair out. Just don't even worry about it. Little contain getting set up. And when I say little, I mean super little. Just a couple units here and there. Just to see when the move outs happen. Well, look at this. Have we seen this? Have we 3 siege tanks, some marines, a few Zerglings from earlier, and Hydralisks? What? Never seen this before. This is the attack that they've been going for game after game. See what kind of reactions and adaptations our pros have this time around. Just being really insistent about that 5th base. Going for +1/+1 of their own. And I think this is a bit of a timing mistake from Eldonzo and Nomus King. They have this area where they're up in upgrades really significant. What is this? Okay, so they've brought a drone along. I noticed that earlier, but I assumed it was a mistake. They brought a drone along, and they're going to be building these creep colonies. And creep colonies actually slow enemy movement in addition to creating creep. So using buildings, this is an interesting move here. By the way, of course this gets demolished. There is no way they were defending that at all. Gotta be careful not to walk into range of those Diamondbacks. They are gonna unsiege and back off. But yeah, so these creep colonies have a little AoE around them that slows enemies. And of course creates creep. I suppose they could build static defenses. Oh, gonna cancel everything. Oh, except this one. They're gonna keep this one alive. Alright, and we see that. A little slow on the Zealot. That's the idea. Protect the siege tanks with buildings instead of units. Nice bit of army motion over here. Gonna be able to rotate, take out this tower. They haven't taken a 5th base of their own, so it's just 4 base versus 4 base now. Oh, and we have some heralds up at the top. This is a heavy bomber unit. They should be able to get, oh, maybe all 3 of those siege tanks, and they do. Oh, using that high ground perfectly to come in unscouted. Really great move there from BCQT. Excellent use of the herald. And that is just going to trigger an all-out assault on the remainder of this army. Such a critical moment there. The herald swooping in to take out the siege tanks like we've been talking about before. A lot of similar compositions across this best of 3. And you can see how critical those siege tanks are to this army. They are the most important part. And when they're gone, just can't compete with this Zealot, Commando, Mine, and Diamondback army. So we're a bit of an economic issue here for Noma's King and Eldanza. They're going to need to have a very successful attack soon. Fighting one-on-one, probably not the ideal way to do it, as Noma's King is staying home on the defense. Going to use that speed boost to try and get the Hydras out of there. But again, not really needed. Another 60 energy down the drain. Ooh. This is the other thing that we see Heralds get used for a lot. Herald bombs go off. Only 2 workers go down. It was an oversaturated base, so no real damage getting done here, except for weakening a future transfer. But expansions being taken across on the professional side. No expansions at all being taken from Noma's King and Eldanza. And they do have a bigger combined army. If they fight as one, they get a 2 versus 2 or 1 versus 2 scenario. 2 versus 1 scenario, I should say. They're going to be in a good spot. But fighting a couple of 1 versus 1s, QXC has a huge army. Although his ally has been very greedy, he's been relatively safe. Not taking too many expansions and really focusing on getting his army count up. And, ooh, this is not what we like to see for our playtesters. Okay, I'm rooting for the underdog. I playtest with these guys all the time. I'm biased. You're going to have to deal with that just a little bit. I do love QXC and BCQT, though. I'm just a big underdog rooter. But here we go, coming in, big sandwich. Herald Bomb going to get a small connection. Herald does stay alive and doesn't take any significant hull damage. Ooh, a drop on those Marines would be huge. Going to focus the tanks, though. Nice move. Only 1 tank remains, and same thing. Look at this. He's really just building up this Diamondback count, fighting over and over again. Blue team gets their tank count reset, and then red team gets to hold on to all their Diamondbacks, and they're just compounding this advantage over and over and over again. And look at this. The space is totally up and running. The space is on the way. And still, Noma's King and Eldanza not taking an expansion. Is this an expansion? Is this it? There's a drone there. Oh, I think it may be too late, though. We take a look at the supplies. They're in heavy advantage for... Ooh, nice little try there. Nice little bait. Attempt to get some free units. We'll zone them out to get a couple of hits on the tanks. Yeah, time is running out. There it is. There's that 5th base. Whoa. Whoa, sneaky base. Sneaky base. I wonder if it'll get scouted. Oh, catching on siege, starting to siege up at the same time. This could be the engagement they were looking for. Really need to be able to get those Diamondback numbers down. The siege tanks are largely out of range of the Diamondbacks, and this is going to be a good spot for our playtester team. Just a little bit of scouting going on the other side of the map. Got to be careful, though. They keep walking into these zones. They have to be much more patient when pushing into the Diamondbacks. Going to cut across. Wait, do they know this about this? They don't know about this base. They still don't know about the base. That is unfortunate. Okay. Very slow push over towards this north side. Oh. Oh, no! A little bit of walking into these units. They're going to lose a lot of Hydras, but they do manage to take out 4 Diamondbacks. Oh, Concave starting to get set up. Siege tanks already ready in the back are going to start shooting down these Zealots. Will it be enough? Big stasis goes down on the front siege tank. Zealots continuing to push through. Another stasis takes down the other siege tanks. Such a critical part of this army. Every spell, every advantage being used, and now these siege tanks are completely surrounded. They have no support. They get eliminated almost immediately, and the backbone of this army is gone. Marines and Hydras are the only thing that's left for this army. Big, big win for BaseTQD and QXC there. They had the bigger army size for a long time. Really looking to capitalize on it, and they finally found this moment where they could capitalize very heavily on their army size advantage. And look at this. This is such a great position. We have this wall over here. It's basically preventing our playtesters from going north at all. And then finishing that light contain here. Nice little move. They set up with the Diamondback. Siege tank's gonna siege just on the edge of the Diamondback range. That's really how you push this back. And focusing it down. But in the meantime, a little bit of a harass coming through. We'll be able to take out these rich mineral protectors. They shoot air, they shoot ground, but they don't have a lot of HP, so if you get a big enough commitment into the main, you will get those taken out. It does slow down the harassment long enough for Noma's King to get some units in, but that next harassment will be even stronger. Oh, no! The outside base getting scouted and pushed away for the time being. The team of playtesters really, really need that economy right now. And they need a good engagement. Oh, gonna set a stasis up to take down half the tanks. Are they gonna use this to move in? Nope, they're gonna wait for the other tanks to go in and some Hydras as well. Bonus Hydras. Who doesn't like bonus Hydras as the army moves in? Immortality on the Zealots. Diamondbacks all set up and ready to go. As soon as those tanks come out of stasis, they just get decimated. And our professional team secures this location once more. Moving forward. A bit of a move command there. That's how much they care about what's going on. That's how big their advantage is. They can afford to move command. Just going to set up a couple of these Diamondbacks to protect the back area while they move in. A nice little cut there. Again, trying this harassment. This time Noma's King on top of it. Going to prevent most of the damage. But they're going to lose this base in the meantime. They may have won a small battle here or there, but they are losing the war in a significant way. They need a gigantic victory. They need a super cost-efficient engagement if they're ever going to be able to come out of this hole. They are in a lot of trouble right now. They need their opponents to make a mistake. They need to be able to catch these Diamondbacks unsieged and alone. And on the other end of things, BaseTQD and QXC, this is their game to lose. They have to be really careful. Don't want to overextend, make too many mistakes. A little bit of cost efficiency going on over here for this army. But the Zealots trap the tanks. And that is it. GG, well played, excellently fought. Fought tooth and nail to the very end. Excellent job. 2-1 does go to our professional team. QXC and BCQD. Thanks all for tuning in and hanging out. If you want to play Vanguard, if you want to try it out, come try it out. We play test Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, officially, and then unofficially we practice the rest of the days of the week too. We are pretty much always playing Vanguard, so follow the links in the description, in the comments to the Discord. Come hang out with us and help us to make this better, make this gameplay better, and make a better, more accessible RTS so that RTS can be enjoyed by all people and not just the people with the time and the effort and the passion to just grind it out and get past that nasty barrier of entry that we've come to expect with RTS. I don't think it needs to exist. Maybe you think that too. Come to a playtest, check it out. We'll see you again soon.